I know the feeling. You see a cheap 2,000-watt generator on a deal site, you think you're saving a few bucks, and then a week later you're standing in the backyard with a dead battery and a humming motor that can't even power your essential lights. That regret hits hard, especially when you're the one who promised a reliable backup for a weekend camping trip or a sudden power outage at home. The real question is whether dropping a little more cash now means you avoid that disappointment later. Link is in the description if you want to check the product details on Amazon. The Firman WH03041 dual-fuel inverter tries to position itself as the smarter middle ground. It's not the $200 budget unit that cuts out when you need a little extra juice. And it's not the $1,200 heavy-duty diesel beast you'd only consider for a whole-house standby system. It sits right in the sweet spot for people who need portable, clean power, but also want the flexibility to run on gasoline or propane depending on what's convenient at the moment. Let's start with the kind of people who actually benefit from this generator. If you're an RV owner who likes to camp off-grid but still wants to charge laptops, run a mini fridge, and keep a small air conditioner humming, the dual-fuel capability is a real convenience. You can fill up on gasoline when you're at a fuel station, then switch to a propane tank at a campsite that offers it for free or cheaper. For homeowners who live in areas prone to short storms, the 300-watt surge rating can kick on a sump pump and a few lights without tripping the main breaker. And for DIY enthusiasts who occasionally need a clean power source for power tools, the sub 1% total harmonic distortion, THD, means sensitive electronics like cordless drills with electronic speed controls won't suffer the jitter you sometimes see with cheap inverters. Now, who should walk away? If you're looking for a generator to power an entire home for a full day, this isn't it. The 1.8-gallon fuel tank gives you about 10 hours of runtime at half load, which is respectable for its size, but you'll quickly run into the need for refueling if you're trying to run multiple hydro appliances. Also, if you're a hardcore off-road enthusiast who needs a generator that can be hooked up to a large propane tank without any extra adapters, you might find the separate propane tank requirement a bit of a hassle. Finally, anyone who expects a Satan-Forget unit that sits in a garage for years without any maintenance should reconsider. The low oil shutoff is a safety feature, not a substitute for regular oil checks. From a practical standpoint, the first thing I noticed when I got the WH03041 out of the box was how the control panel is laid out. The outlets are covered, which keeps dust and rain out when you're storing it in a shed, but you can still access them quickly with a single flip of the cover. The panel also includes an RV L1430 outlet, a standard 120V household socket, and a USB port, a small addition, but it saves you from having to bring an extra power strip for charging phones and tablets during a weekend trip. Running it on gasoline felt smooth. The 171 cubic centimeters engine with a cast iron sleeve gave the motor a solid, low vibration feel, and the low oil shutoff saved me from an accidental run-dry scenario when I was distracted loading my camper. When I switched to propane, I used a portable 20-pound tank I already had for my grill. The transition was seamless. A quick twist of the fuel selector, a couple of priming pulls, and the generator was humming at the same RPM. The runtime on propane is theoretically comparable, but because the tank isn't included, you have to factor that cost into your overall budget. One of the biggest strengths of the Firman is its weight distribution and mobility. The 5.5-inch heavy-duty wheels roll over gravel and grass without wobbling, and the folding handle folds down flat against the chassis, making it easy to slip into the trunk of a mid-size SUV. I've taken it to a local park where I set up a small pop-up shop, and moving it from the car to the table was a matter of a few steps, no lifting required. That mobility is a real advantage over many other inverter models that sit on heavy steel frames and need a dolly to move. On the flip side, the generator isn't silent. It's an inverter, so it's quieter than a standard open-frame generator, but you'll still hear a faint whine at idle. If you're planning to use it in a quiet campground at night, you'll want to position it a few feet away from your sleeping area. Also, because it's designed to be portable, the overall power output caps at 300W surge and 3000W continuous. That means you can't run a full-size electric dryer and a central air unit together. You'll have to prioritize. I found that pairing it with a mini-split unit and a